Hey everyone, Dylan here, and welcome to AEW Dynamite review for January the 12th, 2022. Alright, we have a show opener run that runs down the show basically. We have Adam Cole come out with ReDragon, and Dylan's excited. He almost says the new name for the new Undisputed Era, but he then gets cut off by the Bucks. And then they get into it with ReDragon verbally, and they both talk about how they want to be tag team champions, basically. And ReDragon doesn't care if they got to beat the Bucks again or not. There's no one in between them and title. Adam Cole encourages, friendly competition, and then calls the best friends joke until they all come out, and we get a big old brawl. Orange has the lead until Adam takes advantage, and then Chris steps in front of him. It's like, what are you gonna do? Hit a girl, basically, without saying it, until Britt Baker comes out and takes her out and evens the odds. The Bucks try the kiss spot, but Britt cuts them off and does it instead, which that kind of is appropriate, minus the whole boyfriend girlfriend crap there. It's kind of like, oh wait, why are you not letting the Bucks do their kiss spot? Ooh, tension. Alright, then we get a promo package for Warlode, and then we get into his match with Punk, where MJF comes out and introduces Warlode, kinda, sorta. Then Punk turns his attention to MJF during the beginning of the match, but Warlode blocks him off from attacking him. Alright, the match is basically a back and forth until Warlode gives Punk 6 Symphony of Destruction power bombs. And then as he's pinning him, MJF stops him and yells at him to do it again. And he gives him 2 more, and then MJF says 1 more. And then as Punk's rolling out of the ring, MJF says through the timekeeper table. And Warlode is like, nah, I don't want to do this. I just want to end the match. But MJF the whole time's like, I own you, bitch. Do as I fucking say. Alright, and then Warlode ends up begrudgingly going through with it, and he does it, and then Punk crawls back into the ring for a dramatic, almost 10 count, and then MJF's yelling at him the whole time to quit. It's really cool. And MJF demands another powerbomb, throwing it in Warlode's face that he pays him, but Punk ends up rolling him up for the win. Then MJF tells them to cut the music and gets in Warlord's face, starts belittling him until Warlode almost snaps. Spears comes out and then gets between them, and Warlode storms out in front of them furiously as we go to the break. We come back and Powerhouse Hobbs is with Ricky Stark. They come out as Taz goes to commentary, and Hobbs has a match against Dante Martin. They have a pre-match beatdown angle until Hobbs throws him into the ring and they brawl for a bit. Then the match ends with Ricky Starks tries to interfere, but then Jay Lethal stops him from doing so, and that's enough for Dante Martin to do his little springboard power shoulder tackle thing. I think that's what he did for the pin. I might have made up the shoulder tackle, but it was a springboard. All right. Then we get Jericho and what's left of the inner circle that's not Sammy giving a promo. And they all said that they'll guard Sammy from 2.0. Then Eddie comes out and he's like, hey, Jericho, you don't need to get in my business, basically. And then he says the inner circle's going nowhere, specifically Santana and Ortiz. He says that they're going nowhere, and it's all because Jericho's holding them down. And they all basically leave, and it's just Jericho and Eddie at that point. And Jericho says that if Eddie doesn't mind his own business tonight, that he's not afraid to kick his ass too, and for him to GFY. Then we go over to commentary and their breakdown of that until MJF comes out and runs down the crowd. Oh my god, imagine him rushing the crowd. He then says that Punk got lucky and teased challenging Punk, but he says Shawn Spears instead of him for next week, or I guess this week that I just did a review that's going to come up, I think, after this. Then we get the Super Click and Britt throwing down a mixed tag team match next week for Adam and Britt against Orange and Chris. Well, again, this week technically. You get it. Then after they destroy Brandon verbally, Hangman comes out to the ring and that he says he spent 90 minutes with Daniel and whipped his ass, so he needs a new challenger. Then Dan Lambert comes out and is mad at Adam Cole for calling himself a cowboy, because he's not a cowboy, he's like a modern millennial. But the whole time he's like praising him at the same time, but he's just mad he's calling him a cowboy. So eventually Adam Page ends up telling Dan get his ass to the ring and fight him, and then Murder Hawk's theme ends up playing and pushes Dan to the ring. Only it was a setup, because Murder Hawk ends up freaking attacking Hangman, and the whole time this happens, Dan's like, yeah, like he's kind of like cool about it, I guess the way to say. Anyways, he gives him freaking blackout on the chair, and that looked painful as shit. Then we have a promo with Arn backstage with Brock and his partner. I'm sorry, I forgot his partner's name. Forgive me, that's my fault. Arn says that he's proud of them, and then Tully comes in with FTR, and they say that Arn would be better if he dropped his son and drop both of them, and that FTR would do the Anderson name better than Brock could even dream of doing. So then FTR challenges the Brock tag team next week. Not Brock Lesnar and Brock Anderson, although that would be pretty cool, and I kind of like that. Alright, we then come back, and Jade had a pre-made promo that shows off on how she's, and I quote, that bitch. Then we get Hikaru Shida coming out, and as she's coming out, Serena Deeb chop blocks her knee, and then takes her out before the match. Rolls her into the ring, match begins. They have a good, strong back-and-forth match. The whole match is Hikaru Shida targeting the knee until we get a ref stoppage at the end of the match. Post-match, Shida still selling her knee and is mad at the ref for stopping it, but Serena Deeb ends up grabbing the kendo stick and starts swinging at the ref and the doctors until they get out, and then she ends up destroying the kendo stick on Shida's knee, and the refs have to break it up. Then, for some reason, like, they weren't really involved. I guess they're friends. But Ty J ended up coming out and helping her to the back. And then we transition to a promo with Cage and Jurassic Express, or I guess Jurassic Express 2.0 now. And they wish Rey Fenix the best, and then Jurassic Express says top 5 teams can go after them anytime. Then Silver and Reynolds challenges them on Rampage. Go back to the ring, and the HFO are in the ring, and Hardy says he will injure Penta and send him to the hospital bed next to his brother. Oh, by the way, shout out to Rebby Hardy and all the baby Hardys. They could do like a pan shot on them. It's like, oh, hell yeah. Thanks for actually acknowledging them. Alright, hi, I forgot this until, I was the next day, I guess. Well, the day this gets uploaded, whatever you want to say, so this is a little throw-in. So I really think that Broken Matt's going to come back very soon, and all the evidence leans towards it. So here's some pieces that I've put together. This will be more elaborate as the future goes on and we see more of the idea that he has. But, obvious number one piece, Jeff being released. I mean, Jeff's going to come back, and eventually the Hardy Boys have to get back together. Plus, they've always said that they want one more run and then they can retire like always. Besides that, if you listen to the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, is that his podcast? Yeah. Like I'm doing currently, you'll hear that they've teased for March/April, around that time period, to start talking about Broken Matt Hardy. So, I'm not saying anything's guaranteed, because they talk about the past, the current, the past, the current. But, if you do the obvious one-to-one there, they could either talk about the broken character as a past thing or as a current thing. So I'm kind of excited on that. Plus, there's some more evidence. I just can't think of any. I just wanted to throw that little opinion in there. And yeah, back to the review. Then Penta and Matt have a one-on-one match that's pretty fun the whole time. It's both a mixture of comedy and actual wrestling. It's pretty cool. A normal Hardy match where it's solid. There we go. He then has a promo towards Malachi, and in the process of that, the lights go out, and Malachi takes out Alex. I forgot his name, but the guy with Penta and Ray normally. He tries to rip off Penta's mask and gouge his eyes out. Then the Varsity Squad come out and attack him until he points at all three of them, but he does like 1, 2, 3. And then the lights go out and Brody King has arrived finally. He wrecks freaking house. And then they give Pillman the, I forget what it's called, but I call it the toss up into the sky into a British Bulldog, like running power slam, or like what Braun Strowman used to do. And that's the arrival of the Kings of the Black Throne. And then Tony talks to Layla Hirsch after that, and Red Velvet and Chris Statlander about their 3v3 match against Britt. Chris and Layla end up getting into it verbally because Layla's mad that she's talking about her match with Britt over the 3v3, which, I mean, why would you get mad at that? Can you blame her? That's the more important match. But then they're like, all right, we're cool, because Red Velvet kind of, tells them chill, get on the same page. Then we get a rundown for the rest of the show, go to the ring where the Acclaim goes against Bear Country, and the Acclaim end up winning. Then Sting comes out, but Darby sneak attacks, dives through the middle rope as they're on the ramp, and he has a skateboard in his hand. They end up doing that as Sting ends up hitting Bowens to keep him down. Then they beat up Caster in the middle of the ring. Then we get a pre-taped, well, I guess they're kind of the same thing, from Pac, where he's apparently been infected by Malachi Black's Black Mist, and now he sees clearly. Anyways, they plug Rampage and Dynamite, then they go to the break, come back, and Matt has an angry promo on Andrade. Matt has an angry promo, then Andrade tries to negotiate with Matt Hardy, and they're going to talk about a deal as we go to the main event. They're going to talk about a deal in private, by the way. We'll get to that later. As we go to the main event of the intern TNT champion. It's David Crockett's at ringside, which I guess is their normal thing now, so that's cool. And it's a match where Sammy Guevara goes against Daniel Garcia. The match ends up having 2.0 jump Kingston and Jericho. And then they try to... What? Oh, okay. So they jump... 2.0 jumps Kingston and Jericho. And then they try to jump Sammy to no prevail. And he hits the go to hell to win. David Crockett Jr. ends up handing Sammy the title as 2.0 attacks Sammy. Kingston and Jericho then take out 2.0, and then they start to argue, and that's what we end the show on. Despite how rushed my kind of synopsis as the show sounded, it was a very solid show. I enjoyed it the whole way through.